The Yankees remain in the wild card hunt, and today they try to make it 4 wins in a row as they take on the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards. They will turn to Jordan Montgomery with just a 5-6 record on the year, but a very respectable 3.71 ERA. Meanwhile, the lineup will try and get revenge on a pitcher that shut them down last week. Recap and fan reactions coming up. This is Yankees Game Night.
Evening, Commissioner.
It is going to be a long train ride for the Yankees, who remain allergic to sweeping. Allergic. How many times this year have we seen them go into the final game of a series with a chance to sweep and then not be able to get it done? Way too many. Way too many. If you just take care of the games against the Orioles, the season goes, I think, a little bit differently. But they drop a game and fall out of playoff position for now. I once again had to watch the game on the Masson station, and the Orioles announcer spent half the game complaining about how long the game was taking. And it was a long game. It was over 4 hours. I'd imagine it does drag out watching the Orioles. They've lost 99 games. The Yankees were unable to handle them tonight and hand them their 100th loss. But I hate it when baseball announcers complain about how long the game takes. You know what else takes a long time? Having a job, a real job. Messy, rainy, wet night in Baltimore. Yankees jumped out in front early. Joey Gallo went deep in the top of the second to give the Yankees a 1-0 lead. It was his 3rd home run in his last 4 games, 5th home run in his last 11 games. He's starting to do his thing again a little bit. He should bunt for a hit like once every 10 at-bats or so. It'll keep the defense guessing, and he might pick up a few more hits. Urshela doubled to make it 2-0. He's been swinging the bat a little bit better the last few days. Yankees stranded 2 men in scoring position in the second. Jordan Montgomery had a really good changeup today. No runs and 9 strikeouts for the first 4. Joey Gallo came 5 feet short of a grand slam in the top of the 5th. But Yankees left the bases loaded again. Same story all year. Same story. Too many men left on base. Ryan Mountcastle broke the Orioles record for home runs by a rookie in the bottom of the 6th with a solo home run. Number 29 on the season, hanging changeup from Monty, and it was destroyed. But Monty had the strikeout pitch going today. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. 12 strikeouts, a new career high in strikeouts for Jordan Montgomery. If you asked him, he would probably say that he would trade some of the strikeouts for quick outs so that he could go deeper into the game. But ultimately, he was unable to go very deep into the game, and the bullpen wore down. Top of the 7th, Giancarlo hit a 120-mile-an-hour line drive off the first base umpire. That was the hardest or 3rd hardest ball hit this year, and it nailed the umpire. I would quit umpiring forever if that was me. Albert Abreu worked a scoreless inning out of the bullpen. He gets a lot of movement for a guy who throws 99. He could be the next Johnny Lasagna. Johnny Lasagna! Oh, I'm too depressed to do a Johnny Lasagna. That was pathetic. Orioles tie it on a wild pitch with 2 outs in the 9th. Holmes actually looked okay, but he was a little bit wild. He had a couple of strikeouts, but, a couple of bad pitches cost him. And then Peralta, he starts off with the man on second, gives up an infield hit. Ultimately, a little chopper through the infield, ends the game. Tonight's game, partially on the offense. Once again, too many men left on base. You got to score more than 2 runs against the Orioles. It's been the same story all season. You'll leave 2 men on in, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd, and then the bases loaded in the 5th. And that's why you just fell out of a playoff spot. Yankees lose this one. Matt Zimmerman says this one was on Sanchez. Yes, Sanchez could have done a better job behind the dish. I did notice that Sanchez also took a foul ball off of his hand once again. That always seems to happen right when he's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. Have you noticed that? Guillermo D. Valencia says, man, I miss Mariano. You know, Mariano was the first ever unanimous selection to the Hall of Fame for a reason. The guy was automatic. There's not many like him. Not only was he amazing, but he did it for decades. He was incredible. Got to beat the Orioles, though. I see a lot of people commenting that they wanted a rant. I've gone beyond rants at this point. I'm just sad. You know, I expected a lot more out of this team. I'm disappointed. I'm almost apathetic at this point. You know, the opposite of love isn't hate. It's apathy. And beginning of the year, I loved the way this team looked. But now I've almost become apathetic to it because I just don't see them going very far. You got to be able to put up a better showing against the Orioles. If you can't come back and beat the Orioles, if you can't score more than 2 runs off of these chumps, what are you going to do against the Rays? What are you going to do when you got to beat the Blue Jays next week? Or the Red Sox? Or for that matter, the Indians, who you're about to play this weekend? What are you going to do when you get to the wild card game and you have to win? You have to get those hits with runners in scoring position. Well, right now, you might not even be in the wild card game. Juan Santiago with the Super Dono says, pain and suffering. Yankees fumbled the bag on this one. Appreciate that, Juan. Speaking of the fumbles, the football season has begun. So if you can't take any more of the Yankees, might be a good time to pick up the NFL package. I know I'm going to. Missing the Giants game right now. I'm trying to watch the Giants a little bit more. I've watched a little bit, and I feel like I could get next to that team. I like some of these guys. Caleb Siegel says, why did they not put Chapman out there? Because he's pitched 3 days in a row, and he doesn't pitch that many days in a row. He doesn't go 4 days in a row, ever. Jared Miller says, zero confidence in this team. 100% agree. 100% agree.
I wholeheartedly agree.
E says, Cashman should go Billy Bean in the clubhouse and flip some tables over. I don't think that's in Cashman's character. Cashman is not an angry, aggressive guy. I can't see him, smashing a radio or flipping over a desk, or I just can't see him doing it. First of all, I mean, he'd strain his back trying to flip over a desk or whatever, table. He doesn't look like he's the, strong. He's not Brad Pitt, Billy Bean was a monster. Cashman is a front office guy. Honestly, it's just sad. The team has got to do better. Frank Fontanella says, just can't hit. I mean, hey, look, sign you up for Yes Network as an analyst. That's just what it is. The team just doesn't hit enough. Tonight, they had 7 hits in 10 innings. Giancarlo Stanton had 2 hits, 2 bullets, but Gardner was 0 for 4. Judge was 0 for 5. Gallo 1 for 4. Torres 1 for 4. Sanchez 0 for 2. Wade 1 for 3. Urshela 1 for 4. 7 for 35. I don't know what the batting average says. So 7 goes into 35 5 times. So that's a 200 batting average. The Yankees hit 200 today with 8 strikeouts. That's just not good enough. Listen to these batting averages. 224, 273, 287, 248, 252, 200, 206, 269, 258. I just think we need more guys who hit like in the 270s, 280s at least. There's not that many 300 hitters out there. And I know a lot of people don't care about batting average. And every time that I say this, I get comments that say batting average doesn't matter. You're a boomer. First of all, I'm not. I'm Generation X. You don't know anything about baseball if you care about batting average. Well, yeah, I like hits. I like to see guys hit the baseball and run around the bases, right? I like to see line drives. I like to see competent hitters. Hi, 12397 says, it's fine. We are turning the corner. I found Aaron Boone's account. Daryl Leon says, Toronto scored 44 runs against this Orioles team in 2 days. That's a great comment. It's just, they're 2 different types of teams. I mean, the Yankees it's like they expect to hit like the Toronto Blue Jays, but they don't have the same quality of hitters. They just don't. I mean, they're just not as electric. You know, all these guys can be pitched to. Brett Gardner, he had a few hits last night, but for the most part, he can be pitched to. Rizzo's, he's a good hitter, but he can be pitched to, 250 average roughly. Gallo strikes out most of the time. Gleyber Torres couldn't hit anything right now. Sanchez can be hit. He's down to 206. Even Urshela not having a great year, 706 on base percent. It's like they don't have good lumber. Somebody check the bats. Somebody check the person who in the supply chain who's supplying the bats. Jaxo with a big dono says, "Hi, I'm a White Sox fan and good luck playing the Indians tomorrow, although they can't hit. The Indians can pitch. Also, Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman will be fired after this season since the Yanks." Appreciate the massive dono. You are the man. You get this Field of Dreams one because you're a White Sox fan. So, I think that there is a solid chance that if the Yankees miss the playoffs, that Boone will not be back. As much as I would like to see Cashman gone, because, look, I have nothing personal against Cashman. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's an intelligent guy. I just think the team needs some new philosophies, some fresh blood. Every organization gets stale after a while without some fresh blood. Broncos Nation says they need Joe Boo to wake up the bats. Yeah, just don't steal his rum. Daryl Leon says you can't assemble a baseball team with 9 sluggers in a lineup. Thank you. Thank you very much. Although tonight they didn't really have sluggers. They had Wade in there. Wade was 1 for 3 with a walk. Gardner, not a slugger, 0 for 4. But I do think that you need a couple of guys whose job it is to get hits every time and to not try and use launch angle, to try and beat the shift. You need some game breakers. You need some guys with excellent speed who can also make contact. You need guys who hit doubles. I miss what was supplied to us by Miguel Andujar a couple of years ago. It's a shame that he got hurt. His career is probably not going to pan out at this point unless he ends up somewhere else. Had the wrist injury this year. I don't think we're going to see him again. But he was a guy who would, pick up the doubles down the line. He would burn the outfielders with a double. He would get a broken bat flare because he was always swinging. And I understand that the Yankees value patience at the plate. They value being selective and hitting your pitch. However, there's something to be said for free swingers because they're unpredictable. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. once hit a ball that bounced. Ichiro Suzuki, same thing. These were not guys who walked, but they were great hitters because they could hit. They were up there trying to hit. They weren't up there to walk or take pitches. They were up there to hit the ball as hard as they could. 80s Kid says, just the fact that we can't dominate opponents, I just don't see us going anywhere. I put a lot of that on this philosophy. And I can't even articulate because I'm not in the room exactly what the philosophy is. But it's clear that the approach that's being taught to this team, and I don't want to pin it all on Marcus Timms. I'm sure he's a good guy and he's doing what he's been asked to do, but it's not getting through. I should say it's either not getting through or the execution just doesn't work the way the Yankees thought it would. They need to figure something out. You just don't see him put together those big games. Yankees haven't scored 20 runs on anybody this year. I think they did once last year against maybe Toronto. That was the day that Higashioka hit 3 home runs, I think. Gaming Universe says Blue Jays have contact power and on-base percentage guys up and down the lineup. I mean, that's what it takes. If you pair the Blue Jays lineup with the Yankees pitching, well, for the most part this year, the pitching has been suspect as of late out of the bullpen. But the starting, that's a good team. They would win a lot more games. And I got to tip my hat to the Blue Jays. That organization has built a good offense, and they're young. They're getting a lot out of Marcus Semien. He's a free agent. Be interesting to see where he ends up. Ronnie says, please miss the postseason. I'm for the big picture now. Get Boone, a.k.a. good at bats, the hell out of here. Appreciate that, Ronnie. Ronnie, the Dono legend. Mike Vieira, you got 3 vowels in a row. Vieira says, it's a big problem, especially when it gets to the postseason. At this point, you got to worry about making the postseason. Right now, if the season ended, the Yankees wouldn't be in the postseason. But yeah, when you face good pitching and you need to get those hits with runners in scoring position and you can't do it, you lose. And anybody who's been watching the Yankees over the last couple of decades can relate. Same story every year. Rayrard says, I saw some Bernie Williams highlights the other day, and I miss those hitters. Man, I miss Bernie Williams so much. I always felt like he got a raw deal from the Yankees at the end of his career. Again, a Brian Cashman thing kind of forced him out. And I get it, he wasn't the same player, but he didn't get the same kind of treatment that somebody like Mariano Rivera or Derek Jeter or even Paul O'Neill got. He went out with a whimper instead of with a bang. And Bernie's one of my all-time favorite hitters. I saw him hit a home run. One of my last games at the old Yankee Stadium must have been 1997 before I moved. He hit one against the against the Royals. It went about halfway up the upper deck in right field, right down the line. Yankees won that game 15-1. He was a switch hitter. He would take the ball the other way from both sides of the plate, and he would have good at-bats. Bernie was one of a kind. And he was out there having a good time, playing with fun. He was cool and collected. He hit a monster home run. He would drop his head, maybe give a little fist pump like, all right. But he wasn't showboating. It wasn't about that for him. He didn't care about the press. Burn, baby, burn. He just wanted to win. I feel like the spirit of just wanting to win might be something that's absent from this team. Martin Kalunga says, yo, Derek, you think the Indians owner, Rachel Phelps from Major League, could build a better team than Cashman? Maybe by accident. Super chat from Ruben Cruz. Mr. Cruise Control. Cruise Control. I've always been a big proponent of Bryce Harper. Big fan. We talked about it a lot on this channel over this season. And by the way, thank you to everybody who's been a part of this all year long. I mean, we've done a lot of games, been a long season, talked about a lot of things. He says Harper's batting .309 with a .424 on-base percentage. He's got 30-plus doubles and home runs. But Cashman chose to pay Aaron Hicks, Aroldis Chapman, and Zach Britton almost $40 million a year. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. As much as I like Joey Gallo defensively, I imagine Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper on the corners. A righty-lefty combination. That's how I always did it in MLB The Show. I mean, it's a lot less complicated in MLB The Show, but the guy wanted to be a Yankee. Douglas Rao always makes the most interesting comments. He says, Bernie forgot to pack his bats for Game 3 of the World Series. How the hell do you forget to pack your bats for the World Series? He hit a home run with Joe Girardi's bat. I remember that. That's a great comment. I guarantee he didn't forget to pack his guitar. And back then, if he had a bad game, you would hear the call-ins on like WFAN say that Bernie needs to give up the music. Bernie's not paying attention to the game. Bernie was always locked in. He was, when he was in between the lines, he was focused. You didn't see a lot of brain-dead moments from Bernie Williams. Now, you know, in the clubhouse, he might have been in his own Bernie land. But in between the lines, he was focused. And he was probably the most underrated member of that championship run that they had. Ethan says, today Harper is 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and a home run. Lou Vaughn says, anyone have a plan to fix the Yankees? Well, it's got to start with Hal Steinbrenner committing to fixing the team and not just saying, players, do better. It reminds me of that meme. Have you guys seen the meme where it's like somebody poking a stick and like, do something? It's like you're poking this lifeless offense. Do something. I don't know if this offense is capable of getting that much better. They're going to have to make some adjustments this winter, and it might be some moves that you are surprised by. You know? They went with Gary Sanchez this year, and I'm not pinning this on Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez was not the reason we lost tonight, in my opinion. And I'll get to Gio's comment in just a second. But I could see Gary moving on. I could see them going with another second baseman. Gleyber Torres has all the upside in the world, but to me, his swing is too unconventional. It's unconventional. If you're unconventional at something, you've got to be good at it. Ichiro was unconventional, but he was really good. Gio says, is it just me or does Gleyber still seem out of it even at second base? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say he seems out of it. I can't diagnose Gleyber. He's the most confounding player on the team to me. Absolutely confounding. Jared Miller says, more like Core 5, talking about that late 90s team. Bernie came up before those guys. Bernie came up in like 91, maybe, 92. And so 95, when the Yankees made the playoffs, Jeter and Posada were just on the brink of becoming everyday major leaguers. I think Jeter made his debut in 95, Posada maybe in 96. I think, you know what, Posada might have debuted in 95 as like a pinch runner, now that I think about it. I don't know, it's more than a quarter century ago. But I always felt like Bernie deserved more inclusion. I was glad to see his number retired. He absolutely deserved it. Satan's Load says, nuke the team. Yikes. Michael Rubio says, Bryce Harper would have been a perfect fit in New York. Hey, it's not too late. Ariadna says they should sign Seager for 2 years. I'm sure they would if they could get it done, but he's going to want a longer contract than that. I would love to see them bring in somebody to play shortstop to bridge the gap between Peraza or Volpe. I look at Volpe and I still see a second baseman. He's kind of a shorter guy. He's compact. He's fast. But I like my shortstops to be a little bit taller. I like my shortstops to be like more A-Rod sized. I like them generally bigger because they have longer steps, and that means you can get to the ball up the middle or in the hole a little bit better, although maybe the shift negates some of that these days. Mike, the AC merch, says bullpen is charred. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. They are cooked. They are done. Let's see here. Kobe says he wants Sanchez off this team next year. I don't blame you. William Flores says trade Stanton for Harper. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And I get that the Phillies would be saving money, but Harper sells a lot of jerseys out there. He puts a lot of people in the seats. Maybe with the National League, adding a DH, they would consider that, but I can't see Giancarlo Stanton accepting a trade to Philadelphia. I just can't see it happening. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Yankees unfortunately lose this one. I'll be back with the recap tomorrow. We got one more super chat that I want to get to from Cool Rodri. Says, Yankees need to bring in Posada as a hitting coach. Just don't bring him in as a base running coach. He was not the best base runner. All right, guys, have a good night. Yankees unfortunately lose this one 3-2. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the recap after the Indians game. Another $4.99 from Bob Trantley. Appreciate that. Trambley. Special shout out to the Patreon supporters and anyone else who has supported this channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it the old thumbs up and subscribe for more Yankees content year-round. If you really enjoyed it, check out the Frieze. It's the official podcast of this channel. Or pick up some swag from the Teespring store, link in the description. Thanks for watching.